Hey, Tracy Wisnowski here of DustinandTracy.com, and today's video is all about choosing your domain name for your blog. So if you're just getting started with blogging and you're at that crucial step of figuring out what you want to name your blog, then stick around because I'm going to give you a few tips on how to narrow down those choices and really pick the best one for your brand. So when it comes to choosing a name for your domain, one of the first things you really want to ask yourself is, what is your brand? Are you going to be branding yourself, as in you, who you are, your name, or are you branding your company? And when I say your company, I'm referring to a company that you yourself created and that you are the owner of, something that you actually named yourself. I'm not referring to companies that you might represent or be an affiliate for or distributor for, because in those situations, you don't want to be branding the company, right? Because that brings the traffic to them. But if you have your own company where you are the owner, then that could be something that might be incorporated into your domain name. And then the final thing is figuring out if you are looking to more create a niche specific blog centered around a more fun and memorable name. And so this is really common in a lot of the, mommy type blogs, craft blogs, things like that. They really like to do a lot of play on words, have fun with those types of blogs, and really grow it strong in that niche. And so those are the things you really want to consider when it comes to your brand. Which one are you going to focus on? And that'll help you get a little bit further down the path of what your domain name should be. So once you've really figured out your brand, the next thing you want to do is make sure that your domain is fun and memorable, and preferably easy to spell or type, because if people just hear it, they want to be able to just go type it in and get to it easily that way, as opposed to if it's something that's difficult to spell or say, or it's too long, or it has too many potentials for typos, then it's going to be a little bit harder to make that viral. So you want to really focus on something that is short to the point, but really gets your message across. So like ours is just DustinandTracy.com, because we are branding ourselves and our business. But really for yourself, you just need to figure that out. If you have a common name that a lot of other people have, then you might want to shorten it down by saying work with, so-and-so, whatever your name is. You really want to figure that out and make it something simple to the point so that people can easily get to it. Another tip is to avoid using hyphens and actual numbers in your domain if you can. If numbers are a part of your brand name, so like if you have numbers in your brand, then that's fine, because that's going to be something people remember you by. But if they're not, then you want to be careful on using those things, just because when you're saying a domain out loud, like when you're saying in your videos, we say DustinandTracy.com, if we had hyphens in there, people wouldn't be able to get to it as easily. It wouldn't bring them to the right domain. And if we wanted to say that in our videos, then it would sound a little silly to say Dustin-and-Tracy. That kind of feel really prevents people from easily accessing your blog. So with that in mind, just really, if it's not necessary to have a hyphen, then leave it out. And if it's not necessary to have numbers, then you can leave those out as well, just because you don't want to have any confusion of people putting the actual number itself as opposed to writing out the number in text. And then the final piece of advice is to really consider the extension of your blog. So that's the .com, .info, .tv, things like that. You really want to stick with something that is pretty much mainstream in your niche. So most of the time you always want to go with .com and avoid the .infos if you can, just because .com does have a more of a professional feel to it. It's something that people recognize as more professional, as something that they can trust, something that has a safe feel to it. But if you are doing something like videos as your main thing, then you could do something like .tv as your extension, because it will be a place where people can go watch video content. But most of the time you want to go with the .coms. And if you really want to claim claim that name and claim that ownership, then you could go get the .infos and the .nets and have them reroute to your .com if that is something that you're interested in doing. But overall, for your main domain, I would honestly stick with the .coms or whatever is the main extension in your country. And that sums up my 4 tips for choosing a domain name for your business. Don't stress yourself out too much with this part of the process. Really just keep it consistent with the brand that you're building. Make it something easy for people to remember, easy for them to access, and you'll have no problems whatsoever with the domain name that you choose. As always, if you found value in this, be sure to leave a like or a comment below, and be sure to check back in at this page, whether you're watching it on Facebook or YouTube, because we will be continuously uploading our blogging series to really help you get going with your blog for business, A to Z, all the steps you need to know to get it up and running successfully. And with that, I will see you on the next video.